I want to thank everybody for hanging with us as we enter our second debate in the Headline Circle Public Candidate Debates here in Port Orange at the Lakeside Community Center. This is the race for mayor, and there's no incumbent, and I'm going to ask each individual to introduce themselves and why they're running. And you each have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Henry. Good evening, everybody. My name is Don Burnett. I'm the city council person here in the city of Port Orange. I've been on council. I'm in my second term. I've lived here all my life. I was a graduate of Spruce Creek in 1985. When after college, I spent some time at the University of Central Florida, where I got my bachelor's and my master's degree. My wife and I got married, and we decided this is where we want to live to raise our family. And I think many of you all can agree that we've had a great community, and we have now a great community for family. And that was a conscious decision on our part to become part of this community as adults. Since then, in relation to my service to the community, before I even was on council, and to this day I'm connected in a lot of different ways. I serve on the Salvation Army Advisory Board for the last 12 years. The last 10 as treasurer. I've been very active in Volusia County Schools as my kids have progressed through the schools. I'm currently on the Atlantic High School PTA as vice president, and a couple other committees there as well. So, you know, whether it be church or whether it be the schools, whether it be volunteering for baseball as a coach or with Pop Warner for football, I feel very connected to this community. And I feel like that with my experience as a council person, my experience in business, my education, I think that I have a lot to offer. And I think I can make a difference in the city of Port Orange. And I hope to earn your vote on August 30th.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Henry. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lance Green, and thank you for considering me to be the next mayor of Port Orange. And she's known me since I was a little kid. I'm born and raised right here in Port Orange. My family's been in Port Orange since 1910. We've seen the growth and the allure of Port Orange grow for many, many years. Since a young man, I have always been a champion and a passionate advocate of Port Orange and where Port Orange is growing. I am now running for the elected office to fulfill the passion of our previous officials and our previous leaders to keep Port Orange what it is, which is a model city. Other cities around our state want to be what Port Orange is. It's a place for community, it's a place for raising your family, and this is a home. And so because of that, I want to be involved. Our country has come to a crossroads, and we're at a different time in Port Orange, and we're at a different time when we talk about law enforcement, we talk about safety, and we talk about our government. When we have situations like we have out there in Dallas and in New Orleans, those kind of things really scare me, and they kind of hit hard to me as far as keeping my community safe. That's one of my big issues in Port Orange, is keeping us safe and secure so that our kids can be happy and do the things they want to do. I want to fulfill the vision of our previous leaders. I want to fulfill the vision of the Riverwalk, and I've got 10 seconds, and I want to continue our way of life here in Port Orange, which is something that people are proud of. Thank you.
Mr. Knopfler.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ted Knopfler. And let me say at the outset, I am a plain-spoken man. When I finish speaking, very few people misunderstand what I have said. I'm in this race because we need to fundamentally change the way government operates. So here tonight, I want to tell you 3 things, and I want to leave 3 questions in your mind as we go forward. Number 1, Port Orange is a great place to live, raise a family, operate a business, and I ought to know, because I've been doing it for the last 26 years, right here in Port Orange. Number 2, Port Orange is all of those things, not because of its government, but because of its people. Indeed, Port Orange government has overcharged and overtaxed residents to promote special interests for 30 years. I'm running for mayor to effect the change needed to make Port Orange government more responsible, more accountable, to operate in the open, to live within its means, and provide necessary services that are designed to benefit the common interest. Now, I promised you 2 questions. Question number 1, listen to my opponents carefully here tonight and tell me if you can figure out if either of them are planning to change anything. And if so, what might those changes be? And number 2, while you're listening to them, try and figure out if there's a whit of difference between either one of them. And if you do, share it with me later. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to get started now. Mr. Knopfler, you'll have the first question. There was a lot of controversy about Mr. Ken Parker's exit with this water scandal, and you were one of the most outspoken people away from off the dais in the audience. Do you feel that ultimately the citizens are the boss, the city manager is the boss, or the city council is the boss? And why?
Is that all prefaced on the water debacle as well, or?
It's an example of the idea of power and control and accountability.
Okay. For all intents and purposes, the manager is in control. Make no doubt about it. Council may be his ultimate employer, but council has one tool in their toolbox, and that is the nuclear option. That is the only thing they can do is fire him. And beyond that, effectively, they have no control over him in public. Now, if anyone wants to start putting up their hands and say, oh, but I'm working deals in private all the time with the manager, that is not the form of government that we operate under. So your question, Henry, was who ultimately is in charge here in this city? For all intents and purposes, the manager.
Is that how you want it?
No, sir, that's not how I want it at all.
Okay, Mr. Green, I want to get on the record. I understand it might be self-serving and why you wouldn't bring it up. Your father is the current mayor, and he is leaving at the end of the year, and one of the 3 of you is going to replace him. I've known Alan Green as long as I've been in journalism here for 20 years, and I have an intense respect for the gentleman who's going in our Hall of Fame. With that said, do you agree with Mr. Knopfler on the control and responsibility and accountability in government?
No, I don't. And again, I'll be the first to tell you, as a resident of Port Orange and as his son, I couldn't be more prouder of what my dad has done for this community. He has put his life and his blood, sweat, and tears into one thing, and that was for his community. He also put in me the values of what it takes to give to your community. Now, in respect to Mr. Knopfler talking about secret meetings and hidden meetings, I don't know how it's a secret meeting if he knows about them, so I don't, he keeps talking about meetings and secrets, but I don't know what they are. We are in a city manager form of government. Mr. Parker, through his years of service, did a great job for a community that was growing. Are you going to have growing pains as a business, which the city is a business? Are you going to have growing pains? Yes, you are. Are we going to learn things? Yes, you are. Are you going to learn from your mistakes? You do that through life. So, did we have water billing issues? We did, because we are a growing community. Now we're selling water to another city. These kind of things you're going to have to obviously learn as you go. So with respect to our city manager, we are a city manager form of government. We as a council, our job is to set the policies of where we want to go as a city. We have one communication point, and that being our city manager. Tell him what we want to do, set the policies, set the vision, and let him do his job and monitor it. And that's how we should remain, so we don't have many different leaders trying to all have their input into things and get them diluted.
Okay, Don Burnett, there's no incumbent, but for all intents and purposes, you're the one on the dais here, our table, our lead table, that has elected experience.
Yes.
And you were around when this water scandal erupted, and it's not to say that Mr. Parker is a crook or anything. If anything, he's one of the most endeared, professional, experienced city managers. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
I want to get that
Go
out
ahead. Yeah.
straight. Now, back to what I asked Mr. Knopfler and Mr. Green. Where is who's the big boss in Port Orange? Is it the voters by who they elect? And do they have a right to challenge government? Is it the city manager, or is it the city council? Or is it somewhere in between? And you've got 2 minutes.
Well, in 2 minutes, that's an awful lot.
Well, I'm sure you'll do fine.
But we'll give it a go. I know Lance has had a great role model in his dad, and it's been my honor to be able to serve with him the past few years. My greatest role model in my life is sitting in the front row, my father. And I'd like to thank him for all that he's done for me, because that compass has helped me decide what's right, what's wrong, and a lot of these things hit me at the very beginning of my service on this council. Ken Parker did an awful lot for this city as it went and it grew for a long time. But what happens in some businesses, and you'll see even some of the best long-time businesses have issues because you don't have systems of continuous improvement. We stagnated. We had a lot of long-term department heads that were here that did very good work for a long time, but when you get into trust, but not trust and verify, and you stagnate, you have problems. We experienced a lot of those problems at the end of Ken's career, unfortunately. Those things ran a lot deeper than I saw at the beginning of my first term. It took a while to flesh all those out. I think that we've got a corner turn. Yes, we lost a lot of department heads. Frankly, we needed to, for different reasons. Some for different levels of competence, some for performance, and some simply because it's a different city now. We're in the 21st century, different size, different time, and it's an evolutionary process, but sometimes evolution has a little bit of revolution with it. So I think that we've turned a corner. I think we're moving forward. As far as the city council, the city council works for the citizen. The manager works for us, but the city council is a policy board. The manager's operations, so operationally, he's in charge every day. But when it comes to policy, it's the council. And the reason why I know that is we meet for a whole lot more than 10 minutes every week. Otherwise, we would have very short meetings and we'd send the city manager back.
One-on-one.
No, I'm talking about as a council.
Oh, when you're meeting in
When
session.
our city council meetings last hours.
Right.
And we meet 2 to 3 times a week. So we do an awful lot.
Mr.